Hey everybody, I have a video here for you today, and I wasn't planning on making a video today. I'm kind of looking into one for a few days down the line, and I was sent this article and I want to thank that person. I'll leave his links below. But this has to do with Gobekli Tepe, and this comes from National Geographic, and this just came out today. Oh, and before I go on, I just want to apologize to those of you who heard a word slip yesterday in my video. Those of you who watched it maybe in the first hour or so. I just was so concerned with getting through the end of that video that I forgot I slipped up once in the middle, and there was about an hour or so between the time I talked and between the time I uploaded it, and I just totally forgot I slipped up once in the middle. That happens. And I just want to apologize to those of you. I always listen to my videos before I upload them, always. Yesterday I didn't. So those of you who heard that little goof up, I just want to apologize. But this comes from National Geographic, and I think I will just read. And this is Gobekli Tepe, a site that we know is at least 12,000 years old and was intentionally buried. And they have erected pillars here that hints at a story of a comet impact and a great disaster happening on Earth. And I'll leave a few links below. It says, around 10,000 years ago, the already striking presence of Gobekli Tepe in southeastern Turkey could have been even more impressive, as human skulls might have been dangled in what is considered the world's oldest temple. According to new research published in Science Advances, 3 Neolithic skull fragments discovered by archaeologists at Gobekli Tepe show evidence of a unique type of post-mortem skull modification at the site. The deep, purposeful linear grooves are a unique form of skull alteration never before seen anywhere in the world in any context, says Julia Greski, lead author on the study and an anthropologist at the German Archaeological Institute in Berlin. Detailed analysis with a special microscope shows the grooves were deliberately made with a flint tool. One of the fragments even has a hole drilled in it resembling skull modifications made by the Naga people of India who use the hole to hang the skull on a string. The marks may only appear on a few fragments of bones that date between 10,000 and 7,000 years ago, but archaeologists believe that this find is extremely significant and means that this society, like many others in this part of the world at the time, was a skull cult that venerated the human skull after death. Skull cults are not uncommon in Anatolia, says Greski. She explains that the archaeological remains from other sites in the region indicate people would commonly bury their dead, then exhume them, remove the skulls, and display them creatively. Other archaeologists have even found that Neolithic people would remodel the faces of the dead with plaster, and the Mayans did something similarly to that, and they were also doing that in St. Paul, Minnesota, about maybe 800 years ago. In the Mound Builders Society. It says Gobekli Tepe held special significance to the Neolithic people who lived nearby. This was not a settlement area, but mostly monumental structures, the anthropologist explains. The site's massive T-shaped pillars and prominent position on top of a hill with sweeping vistas suggests that the hunter-gatherers who lived here also had a somewhat complex culture and practice rituals. This is an interesting skull modification that hasn't been documented in this part of the world or this time period, says bioarchaeologist Matthew Velasco at Cornell University, who was not involved in the study, but this find does raise additional questions about who the skulls belonged to and why they were treated this way. And it just goes on to finish up here. There is a range of skull modification behaviors, veneration of ancestors to violation of enemies, Velasco explains, and this distinction can only be investigated at Gobekli Tepe if additional discoveries are made. And here are some of those pictures. It says, Besides the cut mark and drill hole evidence, Gretzky says other clues at the site show this culture placed a special significance on skulls. We find depictions like a headdressed person on a pillar or human heads made of stone. The site iconography fits, with special emphasis on the skull. At Gobekli Tepe there are no burial sites, but rather just pits of human bones mixed in with animal bones and flint tools, meaning additional context is needed to better understand this site. We are still in the beginning of working to understand the anthropology of this site, says Gretzky. Hopefully we will find some more bones and skull fragments. Then we can get a clearer picture of how these people lived, and that is a key question. This is a site that goes back thousands of years earlier than the dynastic Egyptians. Gobekli Tepe is one of the most fascinating sites that was ever discovered on Earth. It's a time frame that we know little about. My channel is all about lost history. I will talk about Gobekli Tepe all day long and every day. Hope you thought this was interesting, and you all have a very nice day.